Breaking news this morning. While you were sleeping, Spokane police shot a suspect who they say refused to put down a gun. This morning, an investigation underway.
So the shooting happened in Spokane's Hilliard neighborhood. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez has been there for several hours now. Nicole, what's the very latest on what's going on right now?
So Tim Channing, roads are still closed here this morning in Hilliard after that overnight officer-involved shooting. I'll let you take a look at some of the blocks we have where police are still blocking roads. So right now we're on Haven, which is the southbound counterpart to Market Street, and that's what's closed between here all the way to Queen, and then several small roads as well going east to west are also closed. So this spot here, Market and Haven, just north of Wellesley, is where these, I'd say 3 to 4 blocks in all directions are closed by officers right now. So here's a look at video we have of the area from last night as well. The situation started when someone called police about 6 yesterday evening. They asked police to serve their neighbor an anti-harassment order. Officers were not able to serve the order at that point, but a few hours later at 10, the person called back again saying their neighbor was in their backyard with an AR-15 style gun. Spokane police sent several officers to the scene.
At some point, shots were exchanged. The subject was struck by at least 2 officers who fired their weapons. First aid was immediately rendered to the subject, and he was transported to the hospital for treatment for his injuries.
So in our update from police early this morning, Spokane police say the man died from his injuries at the hospital. Chief Meidel says investigators also found a gun near where they shot the man. The Spokane police officers who shot at the man are now under an administrative leave, and that's normal procedure for a situation like this. We also know the officers that shot the man were wearing body cameras, and now next steps is the Spokane County Sheriff's Office is taking over the investigation. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
7:03 now. We are continuing to follow a float plane crash near Whidbey Island. This morning, the NTSB is on the way to investigate what caused this plane to go down. Overnight, Coast Guard crews are out searching for the remains of 9 people who were on board that float plane that crashed into the water. So far, 1 body has been found. At this time, we know that the float plane was operated by Northwest Seaplanes based in Renton. The plane was heading from Friday Harbor to Renton. That's when the plane went down into Mutiny Bay on the southwest side of Whidbey Island. So in the next 30 minutes, we will have an update from our reporter on Whidbey Island, where crews are still searching for victims.
Today, as you make your travel plans for the holiday, we're bringing you the best times to hit the road and to avoid traffic if you are heading to or from Seattle and Western Washington. So according to WashDOT, going eastbound along I-90 from North Bend to Cle Elum actually looks pretty okay with some moderate to heavy traffic from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. However, westbound, that's a totally different story. Expect heavy traffic from 9 a.m., that's just a couple hours from now, all the way to 6 in the evening. So, moral of the story is, if you are heading into Seattle or anywhere on the west side, go ahead, think about hitting the road here in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, some good advice there. And if you are staying put and maybe getting the grill out to have some Labor Day plans, it might be a good idea to grill and then kind of wait for that drive a little bit later today if you're visiting.
Yeah, I'm thinking at this point, if you're just now leaving, it's going to take a couple hours to get to Cle Elum and Snoqualmie Pass. And by that point, probably going to start congesting up a little bit. So I'm not advocating that you procrastinate, but the weather is going to be pretty nice here in eastern Washington and North Idaho, and we've got very sunny conditions out there as of this morning. I can't wait to fire up the grill later today myself. A little bit on the breezy side with a 10 to 15 mile per hour wind being noted this morning. Temperature is still fluctuating as of this hour. It's 59 in Spokane, which is now our new low temperature for the day, but in Pullman you've already warmed up to 63 degrees, so things should start to warm up very quickly from here, but only into the low or mid 80s for the afternoon, making for a very comfortable day overall. We do also have a new update as of the 7 o'clock hour. We are expecting this. The air quality alerts will once again be held in place for central Idaho and north central Idaho, but were dropped for western Montana. I think the wildfires in central Idaho going to be active for today, but otherwise not expecting major air quality concerns outside of those gray shaded areas. So honestly, shouldn't be too hazy of a day here in Spokane, though that might change in the next 48 to 72 hours.
We are digging deeper into the agreement for Spokane Regional Health Administrator Amelia Clark to never serve at the health district again.
So Clark announced her resignation in May and her contract officially ends on September 16th. She's accepted a new position outside of Washington State, and in exchange for her agreement, the State Board of Health agreed to dismiss its case against her. She was under investigation to determine if she broke the law when she fired Health Officer Dr. Bob Lutz in 2020. CRIM 2 obtained copies of the official agreement. It shows that her case has now been dismissed with prejudice, which means that it's permanently dropped and that the same case can never be raised against her in the future.
This has been a real black mark for our community that during the midst of a pandemic, we had such turmoil. So we need strong leadership at the administrative side and on the Board of Health going forward.
CRIM 2 spoke with Spokane Representative Marcus Bricelli about Clark's agreement. He's the same one who introduced a bill, which is now law, to ensure the health district has the same number of members with healthcare experience as it does elected members. He says it's unfortunate the case against Clark wasn't fully resolved, but he believes it's time for the Spokane community and the health district to move forward and learn some important lessons.
It would have been best to have full resolution. I certainly think the timeline shown and communications were clear that the law was broken. I don't think it's appropriate to have that go without penalty. I just hope there's not a short memory to the way that particularly some of our county commissioners conducted this whole process and left our community vulnerable and put politics above public health.
Now, CRIM 2 has reached out to the State Board of Health as well as Dr. Lutz and his attorney, but we have not heard back. However, his lawsuit against SRHD is still moving forward. To see all of our continuing coverage of this story since it first started back in 2020, you can head over to our website where we have the official documents showing Amelia Clark's agreement with the state right now on crim.com.
It's 7:08 on the dot. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. Gonzaga's campus security and public safety sent an email to students reporting a sexual assault on campus. The alleged assault happened just after midnight at one of the university's residence halls. GU campus security says the victim knows the alleged attacker. Gonzaga says a Title IX police investigation is being opened. CRIM 2 reached out to Gonzaga. They are aware of the report and will follow Title IX policy and procedure. Well, 20 taxing districts are threatening to sue Kootenai County over money associated with delinquent property taxes. The Coeur d'Alene Press says this comes after the Kootenai County Treasurer decided that the county will keep penalties and interest from delinquent property taxes. Previously, this money was distributed to the taxing districts. Well, have you made it to Pig Out in the Park yet? Well, if not, you still have time today. The festival features hundreds of food vendors and musicians, and there are thousands of people who have already attended this year so far. Before the pandemic, Pig Out in the Park was one of the city's biggest events, bringing in more than $6 million each year. And that's a look at your morning rush.